Welcome back to Guitar Search Saturdays. Welcome back to Guitar Search Saturdays. My name's Shane. In today's video, we're standing at the front of Found Sound here in Melbourne, Australia. This is the new Albert Street premises. This is one of the biggest and most impressive shops I've seen in a long time that sells both used and new gear. Now, the reason I was here was to actually pick an amplifier or two or three up. We'll see how we go. But I walked in and I thought, man, this is so impressive. I want to do a bit of a vlog and Guitar Search Saturday episode here, being that it's as impressive as it is. I think you're in for a bit of a treat. So before we get into it, a massive thanks to the guys from Found Sound for letting me do a video at this particular shop. If you want to check it out, I'll link it down below. This video is not sponsored. Anything I purchase or take home with me, I'll be paying for. So let's go in and check it out. After walking up the piano keys on the ground, you're greeted with this beautiful entryway. There's bits and bobs of music equipment in this hallway into the main store, including this Fender M80. The M80 is a classic solid-state amp with, of course, carpet shag all over it. Not only is the size and scale of this store really quite mind-blowing, they've got some of the best used equipment you're going to find anywhere, including this Mark IV from Mesa Boogie. As you can see from the selection, there's a bit of everything. Whether you're looking for a brand new guitar or a vintage piece of equipment, you'll no doubt find something that catches your eye. I know I did. I wanted a lot of this stuff. Take a look at this. I don't think I've ever seen an electric guitar with this many controls. This is crazy. If you plan on selling something at Found Sound, you can drop it off at the shop. They take a small commission for anything they sell, but they do all the work. They list it on their website. I think it's a pretty fair deal considering you won't actually have to deal with anybody. I think this is a really cool thing. If you ever dealt with Facebook Marketplace before, you know what I'm talking about. Here we have one of the guitar walls. Check out this. There's acoustics and electrics as far as the eye can see, and some that are just up way too high to work out exactly what they are. But either way, this is a huge selection of guitars. There's also a solid amount of lefties here, including this Fender American Vintage 2 Telecaster. Beautiful. While the Fender Telecaster was new, this black American Strat is used. This is the beauty of coming to Found Sound. Like the guitar selection, there's plenty of new and used guitar amps. Let's take a look. Here we have an old school Australian-made amplifier from Golden Tone. I don't think I've ever seen one this small. Awesome. This is the Dr. Z KT45. I rarely see Dr. Z amps in Australia, and it's great to see one, or as I would natively say, Dr. Z. While this is a 3-control amplifier only, these get super loud, and they're kind of like a mix between a Vox and a high-watt amp, kind of. They're somewhere in the middle. Whether you're into solid-state, tube, or valve amplifiers, or digital modeling amps, there's something here for everybody. My intention with this trip was to test and play a few amplifiers that I was seriously considering buying, and I could just see a few of the Fenders staring right at me. The first of the amps I wanted to play was this. This is a Fender Twin Amp with a drive channel. I had one of these back in the early 2000s when they first came out, and it was such a great sounding amplifier. The second is the Fender Prosonic Amp. Now this has a drive channel that inspired the Fender Supersonic. So it's got two 10-inch speakers, it's lighter than the Twin, and it absolutely growls when you crank up the drive. The third amp, and maybe the main reason I came to the shop, was to check out this, the Peavey Classic 50 4x10. The Peavey Classic 50 is an amp I've wanted for years, and it was one of the best tones I ever heard from another guitarist in Melbourne playing live. It was absolutely mind-blowing. Not only is the clean channel like a thick-sounding Fender Super Reverb, this also has an absolutely rock and drive channel. Being that I'm a lefty, I always bring a guitar with me anytime I'm thinking of testing or buying an amplifier. That way I know exactly what it's going to sound like. Alright, let's go test some amps. I started with the clean channel on the Fender Twin Amp, and it was glorious until I went to change the EQ, where the amp would just crackle at full blast. Full blast on the volume through a Fender Twin Amp is no fun, so yeah, definitely had some issues, whether it was just dirty pots or something with the circuit board. I just couldn't take the financial risk by getting this one, so I let it go. You can see me flinch. It was super loud, so it was on to the next amp. Over to the Prosonic Amp, which is part of the same series and release that the Twin Amp was from. So you get a really musical drive channel, and as I explained earlier, it's kind of what they based the Supersonic off. You get 2 gain controls, and you can get some pretty gnarly tones. I should also point out I play live, so I've got this up at gig volume. Get an amp up as loud as you can in the shop if they allow it. This room's sectioned off from the main shop, so it's not annoying too many people, but it really gives you a good sense of how it might sound in the context of the band mix. While this drive channel's extremely usable, there's one more I wanted to test.
All right, we're checking out the Peavey Classic 50 amplifier. This is kind of like a super reverb, so it's got 4 10-inch speakers, except we get 2 channels. So there's a clean and a drive channel. And one of the reasons I wanted to test this amp out is because one of the best live tones I ever heard in Melbourne was a dude playing one of these, and it was mind-blowingly good. So yeah, this thing sounds unreal. This is every bit as good as the super reverb on the clean channel. You get a beautiful reverb sound, and then you've got that drive channel if you want to use it. It's got a master output volume as well, so you can play at lower volumes. I think it sounds pretty great. Let's check it out. Anytime I'm thinking about buying an amplifier, I always take one of my most played guitars because I know how this is supposed to sound, and then I like to get a sort of vibe off the amp, and the vibe of this amp is that I'm buying it. Wow, what a tone.
As long as you don't push the gain channel up past about 1 o'clock, this is absolute blues heaven, so it suits me perfectly. Earlier when I was walking around, I saw the Fender Princeton reverb amplifier you're looking at right now with the blue Tolex. I had to give this a shot, even though I'm playing in the main area of the shop, which is always a little daunting. The reverb is enhanced by the shop design. There's brick walls and floorboards everywhere, so it sounds a lot more wet than it would actually in any sort of studio or bedroom. I've always wanted to get a Princeton. I've held off just because they're expensive for their size and they're not loud enough to fill a lot of the kind of rooms that I play in. But for what I do on YouTube in the studio, this thing would be an absolute no-brainer. They record so beautifully, and the onboard vibrato or trem is really something else. I could spend 2 or 3 full days going through so many different amplifiers at this particular shop. Let us know if there's anything you've seen in this video that caught your eye.
All right, so I bought an amplifier. I ended up with a Peavey Classic 50 with the 4 10-inch speakers. Man, the thing sounds friggin' awesome. I'm a huge fan. So the reverb sounds amazing. I was so close to buying the Prosonic, but the Prosonic just jacked the price up of the entire day, just a little bit too much for me. So unfortunately, I didn't end up with that amplifier, but I might come back and check it out at a later date, because to tell you what, that Prosonic, once I got the drive channel dialed in, I was a huge fan. You could play that without any pedals. It's a really impressive amplifier. So yeah, massive thanks again to the folks from Found Sound for letting me do a couple of different videos here. Odds are there'll be some different content from this particular session up on my YouTube channel, but if you want to check them out, definitely go check them out in the link below. They've got so much great stuff. The website alone will make you want to go down and check out the shop, which is exactly what happened to me today. Now, I asked the guys ahead of time whether or not I could just film some of the guitar purchasing process, you know, like, or amp purchasing process, just going in there. And once I got here, I was like, man, this whole shop deserves a new Guitar Search Saturday episode. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next video. See ya.
Before we go, a massive thanks to all the Patreon crew for all their continued support, and YouTube members. If you'd like to find out more about those and support the channel, I'll link to that down in the description box below or on screen. Thanks again for watching. My name's Shane, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.